Yesterday, I made nearly $3,500 in sales, and accounting for all costs, I made almost $1,200 in profit. Craziest part is, I'm only running 4 ads right now, and for the past month, I've only run like 6. Brand is basically scaling on autopilot without me doing anything. So I'm going to show you how I run Facebook ads, how I have only 4 winning ads right now, how to test creatives, and how to scale creatives. Updating in the business manager, here's the 3.5K day where I spent 1.3K. You can see there were 4 ads that ran. One spent $1,000, one $50, and one $300. This is my winning ad that's dated back all the way to March, and this one has recently popped up, this April 29th one, and you'll see that, look at these cost per purchases. These were solid. And did it track everything? I think it did. 48 purchases. It did track everything. Whether it's accurate or not, who knows, but you can see my exact numbers here. My CPMs have slowly started to drop, and now this ad has been a lot better than any of my other ones, near in the 40s here. As you can see, I'm getting all kinds of people with 409 link clicks. As a result of my CPMs dropping, my conversion rate has dropped from 6 to 8% to about 5 to 7%. I say that, but if you actually do the math here, I converted at about 8.5% that day. So that's why this was a breakout day, and the ROAS was 2.5. Pretty insane. So these 4 ads have been running for a long time now. Only the one was started in May. The rest have been going for quite a while now. So as far as structure goes, it is one campaign set at $1,500 a day. This was the first time that I upped the budget. I had been sitting at $1,000 a day because it was nearing the end of the month. It was Thursday. I was like, heading into the weekend, let me go ahead and up the budget to $1,500. And it obviously worked out for me, but it's a very simple structure. And inside each of these creatives, I would usually do what's called the 3-2-2 method, which is 3 hooks. So 3 different videos. It's the same body, but 3 different hooks. There'll be 2 headlines and then 2 sub-headlines, I think it is. These 3 ads right here, they were all based on the exact same body. These 3 just have different hooks. Only one of these is actually using the 3-2-2 format. These 3 are using 1-2-2, I guess you could call it. It's the same structure that I've been using since the beginning, and you'll notice there's 74 ad sets in here, and that's how many ads that I've run. There's been more ads videos inside of there where I'm doing the actual 3-2-2, so there's more ads. So the takeaway here is to keep things simple when you're media buying and doing Facebook ads. You don't need to do anything too fancy. Like, some people will have all these different campaigns for this, and try duplicating stuff like the old TikTok methods and trying to like glitch the system. You can't really, it's 2025, you can't really do that anymore. Your ad's either good or it's not, and if it is good, you just give it more spend. Like, it's that simple. And if it stops performing at a certain amount of spend, well, that means it's just going to work at a certain amount. So that's what I noticed with one of my other ads. I couldn't push it past 1K. If I tried to push it past 1K on the day, it would get too much spend, and then I would just become unprofitable. Whereas this ad, I was definitely able to push it more. The main one being this one that got the most spend. This was the one that I'm saying right here. It works well when it's not getting as much spend. It's kind of like an NBA team, right? So you have your main guy. Like, you have your guy who gets the ball. He's going to score the most points. I'm just going to use, if you know the OKC Thunder, they're in the NBA Finals. I'm going to use an example here and just say SGA. He's the alpha dog, right? He's going to score the most points. So for me, right now, I have this one ad that spent $1,000. He's SGA. This ad is SGA for me. Okay, now you're going to have a number 2 option. And for the Thunder, that's J-Dub, Jalen Williams. And you could even use the analogy of LeBron, Wade, Bosh, right? So then you're going to have a third ad that's going to be, we could say Chet right here, if we're continuing that analogy. And you have your main hitters right here. And then you just have your role players. And this is where it gets pretty interesting. I learned that from the guy who owns Pup Ring, who's doing about like $5 million a year right now. It's some pretty crazy numbers. And what he told me is, we're going to kind of go into a little bit of how to test the creators. We're going to skip a couple steps here. Is to put different awareness levels in your creatives. That's why you don't need to run all those fancy structures that I was talking about. You can keep things simple. Is because Facebook is so smart. You just run that same campaign. You'll see my frequency isn't anything insane, but when I start looking at the orders and stuff, you'll see multiple sessions. Not from, on the same day, but over the course of days. So some of these people, they might have seen an ad from before. They see another one of my ads that's fairly similar, but maybe attack some different objections, and now they're ready to buy. They look at they actually click again, and they look through, and they're like, okay, let's go ahead and buy this. That's what I mean by attacking different awareness levels. You can obviously go unaware, then you can go product aware, solution aware, all the way to most aware, and you can work your way down there. Of course, you can do the same thing. I'm doing video ads only. I had a comment on one of the videos, the previous videos on this channel, said something about static ads, and I haven't really messed around with that too much. I've done a little bit, but I haven't done too much. So to sum up, the ad structure is one campaign, run that at a daily budget of whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm going to talk about how to test and scale. For me, it's 1.5K a day at this current point in time. And then you have to watch out for the ceilings for different ads, and hope that you can get a winner, right? So when my one ad was playing the SGA role, it wasn't working out. He needed to be demoted to second option, so he needed to turn into J-Dub. And then, potentially I have another ad that comes in and performs a little bit better, and then my J-Dub ad will move down to the role of the third star of the ads, if this makes sense. And then, like I said, you can have the role players be the retargeting ads, hitting different target demographics. All the way down here, you can have Isaiah Joe, you can have Aaron Wiggins, you can have all those other guys. And that's kind of what these other two ads do for me. They don't spend much, but they usually convert pretty well. And Facebook doesn't want to give them too much spend. I think it likes where they're at right now. Moving on to the second points, I touched on this a little bit, but there's a little more detail about it that I need to go into. So in April, when I did 36K in revenue, I had a couple winning ads. I had one that was my SGA one, which had 13K in spend. Then I had one that was 6K, and then I had a bunch of others. But this one ad right here, this one's been running since March. It's been going for 3 months strong. But this one started in the end of March / early April, and it was becoming unprofitable. So when it came to May, I ended up turning that one off. This one ended up becoming my number one option, and it couldn't scale. It couldn't do all the spend, where this one was getting, it started getting like 700 a day when I was scaling up a little bit, right? It was doing well, but it ended up burning out. Whereas this one was still doing well enough where I could continue to run with it, and then obviously it went from the 2 option to be the number 1 option. And it performed okay, it didn't perform great, so that's why this other ad that I had tested ended up moving up pretty fast to become the number 1 option. And then that bumped this one back down to the 2 role. So the lesson is to understand that some ads are just going to have ceilings. Some ads just cannot scale, right? And obviously, if you're running a retargeting ad or a more solution aware or product aware or even most aware type ad, those ones are only going to be able to reach so many people. They're not going to be able to convert super well at a high spend. Facebook cannot show it to that many people that it would convert well. Now, with the unaware types of ads, those will do a lot better. They can perform well at scale. And even just in general, with the way Facebook is, sometimes there are just ceilings for certain ads per day, and you just cannot scale. So that's why you'll introduce different kinds of ads, but like the image ads, you can do a video ads campaign, then you can do different countries, right? Maybe you just tapped out the country for the day, or the week or the month, whatever it may be. And that's also why you bring in those other awareness levels and you start stacking those things. So if you understand that and how to build out those different types of ads and build out a good structure, you're well on your way to start scaling. So what's pretty insane is that I made $58,000 in May, and taking a look at the ads dashboard, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ads that we're running. I mean, I don't know if these really count because they only spent $40. I don't know, they really don't count. I think it's more like 8 ads that ran, and I mean only 3 had more than $1,000 in spend. That's absurd. $15,000 on this one and $11,000 on this one. You can see the CPMs were drastically cheaper on this one. That really helped out. Click-through rate obviously went down. That's just the way it goes. Is in order for you to convert, you need to keep your cost per click relatively low. But the way that works is if your CPM is high, your CTR needs to be high. If your CTR is low, you're never going to be able to convert. If your CPM is low and your click-through rate's a little bit low as well, so long as the CPC is fine and you know you can convert that, it'll be all right. So this goes to show that you don't need anything insane. Like, you can run a very simple structure, have a couple hard-hitting ads. You go in with your SGA, you go in with your JW, you have your Chet, like I did here, although I had to cut Chet. This ad I ended up having to turn off. If you've made it this far into the video, I think it'd be a great fit for my paid community. It is a $69 a month Discord, and I have a ton of resources in there, inspiration, paid themes, keep that on the down low, and then the most important thing, one-on-one Loom coaching. And so you can just ask me any questions in the DMs, and I'll be more than happy to help you out with anything that you might need. Link is in the pinned comment and the description. All right, moving along, how do you actually test creatives? How did I get to this point? Well, the way I test creatives is I do the 3-2-2 method if possible. The other thing is I will like to test about 20 hooks on one body. And that's just testing different angles in those hooks. The one body is fairly general. It's not super specific based on the hook, so they might not always match up, but as long as it's kind of similar, it does tend to work. You can also do a couple other ads that would have more awareness levels, but I wouldn't even get into awareness levels until you have winning ads. Like if you're starting from scratch, I wouldn't even worry about that. I would go to the biggest audience that you could hit where you're going to convert. So I wouldn't necessarily do unaware. I'd either do unaware or problem aware. Most likely I would do problem aware audience. Oops. That's what I would likely do. That's going to be the easiest to get started with. From there, then you could start doing like solution aware or like product aware if you have a lot of competitors. Those are a little bit more tricky to do, and you kind of need to have a little more of an established brand at that point before you can start doing that. If you're starting from scratch, I would do $50 a day or $100 a day. The thing is, if you do $100 a day, you're going to get more data, so a little bit faster. That is spending $3K a month, so that does kind of suck, but you have to be willing to lose some money, unfortunately. It depends though. Like if I'm running a product, I just kind of launched it at $100 a day now, but I started off with $50 a day, and that's on the CBO, by the way, not like per ad set. Side note, this is a little trick that I do to get data on ads. Some people say, oh, if it doesn't spend, like Facebook doesn't like it, and it was just a bad ad. Well, I don't necessarily believe that. I want to at least get some data to prove that point, some sort of data. So I put at least a $5 minimum daily. That way Facebook has a chance to kind of show it to people. So $5 minimum on this is on the ad set level, by the way. You can do that, and that's when it's a flexible ad. If you just do ads, a bunch of ads on the ad set, well, it's going to be kind of sporadic. That's why I do this method. I do the ads kind of in the ad sets. That way I have a little bit more control versus just putting ads in like a bunch of ads just running one ad set. Back to what I was saying though, if you should do $50 or $100 a day, it kind of depends on what your product is. Like if your product is priced at $69 or $79 or even $100, you should probably do $100 a day. And if you're doing, actually if it's at $100, you should probably even do like $150 a day. You need to give yourself some room to actually make a purchase, like with the budget you have. You can even do $75 a day if you feel more comfortable doing that. Like I said, it just depends on the sales price. So how do you know when to turn ads off? Well, for me, I will turn them off at break even if they're not looking great. It's not going to work. Like the numbers are just bad. Or if the numbers are decent and I want to let it spend a little bit, I'll go 2 to 3x the target CPA. So for me, my target CPA is like $25-$30. So I'll let it spend all the way up to like 75. So if it gets 75 per purchase, that's fine, because if it goes up to 100 and gets another sale, another 25 spend, well, all of a sudden now 50, and I'm ready to break even, because my break even is about $50. So yeah, it kind of just depends. Like if I'm seeing bad numbers at 50, I will just cut it. If you're running right at your break even, by the way, and you're getting multiple purchases and you're running right at break even, just keep an eye on it. It's better to keep an ad running and to give Facebook more data and to let it spend and to get more customers than not. So if you're ready to break even, definitely keep it on. If you're under it, obviously keep it on. If you're over, then turn it off. This is the fun part. How do you actually scale? Well, the way I did it and the way I will continue to do it is, well, I'll start at $100 a day. And then if it's profitable, within like the next day, this is when you're scaling aggressively. You do 20%. And then that would be 120 and so forth. So it would be etc. And that just stacks over time. So you go here, 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 and all of a sudden you're at $500 a day, and then it starts adding up because 20% times 500. You just continue to rock and roll with it. Once things become a little bit rocky, you can just chill at a certain point. And if things aren't looking good, you'll decrease 20% every couple days. The key here is to make sure you let things spend. This is very important. You can't make decisions based off of small data or even just like one day of spend. Like, I've had so many days that are just bad, but then the next day will absolutely print. It makes no sense, but that's how it is. Custom, like, you have to think about this on the other side of the equation. The fact that it's actually humans buying it. Sometimes humans they're not in the buying mood. The way it is. Like, Mondays usually suck for me. Sundays used to be hit or miss. Now they're fairly decent. Fridays and Saturdays always hits. People that get paid right on Friday, so they're gonna buy more stuff. And it's going into the weekend, they're feeling a lot better. Like, their emotions are more towards the high end, right? Whereas Monday, it's like, oh, here comes the work week. So people are a little bit less emotionally into it. If you've watched the past couple of videos, you know that I say to make people emotionally purchase, and you need to connect on the emotions. And if the emotions aren't connecting, well, there you go. It's not going to work out. So emotions don't connect. There's several reasons why people don't buy. But if you're looking at data, by the way, back to even this, when ads are they're unprofitable, I'm not killing it immediately. I'll let it spend maybe, it depends on how much spend it's gotten. Like, if I'm doing an immediate test, yeah, I'll kill it in like 2 days. But like on that one ad that had 13K, I let it go unprofitable for about 8 days maybe. And then I was like, some of them were break even, some of them weren't. But the overall, on like a 7-day period, that's what you want to be looking at. You want to look at the past at least like 5 to 7 days. You want to look at this time period and see, okay, how has it done the past week? Because you've gone through all the emotional days, and if it's not hitting on like a Friday, the ad's just cooked. Like, your ad it's not working anymore, and then you can cut it. When you're scaling, you don't need to just spend more. I think that's the number one lever that you can pull to scale. The next thing you can do is start doing more of those awareness levels that I was talking about. While you're increasing spend, add more of that in. The next thing would be to do image ads, and you can actually run those as retargeting ads. Those will work pretty well. I haven't messed around with that too much, but I know that does work well. The next thing would be just start doing image ads in general. Most people will start off with video and then go from there. So you could take some of your winning hooks, throw them on image ads, and see what happens. The next thing would be to expand countries. Right now, I'm only doing US, by the way. I haven't even done any other markets just because supplier issues. I've had supplier issues, I've had PayPal issues, I've had credit card issues, I've had lots of issues. That's why I'm still slowly scaling. I haven't continued to go, my 20% that I want to do. I've just been chilling. I was chilling $1,000 a day for like 3 weeks, and now I've been chilling at $1,500 a day for 5 days. So the next thing would be to run more products that are very similar, and you can hit on a lot of the same like winning angles. Maybe that product might resonate with them a little bit better than the one you're selling. It's worth a test, and you can potentially scale that up as well. The next thing is different offers. So if you're running a buy one get one and it's working well, something else might work even better. You never know until you try. I tried a bundle offer, didn't work, so I went back to my offer. Now I'm testing another offer. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, well, okay, cool. I know I have a winning offer already. I'm trying to find something else that will entice somebody even more potentially. You don't know until you try. But it could be buy one get one. It could be buy one get two. It could be buy one get gift. And this is a specific gift, by the way. In my community, somebody sent me a store to review. I went over it, and they had like a mystery gift. That's not gonna work. Mystery, nobody really cares about like what a mystery gift is. They want to know specifically what they get. The most important thing, I also went over somebody's product today. They asked me about what I think about it, and I was like, okay, it's cool, but what specific results are you going to get from it? This is the number one thing you need to lock into. You need to lock into the target market and what specific result. They get XYZ result in XYZ time frame. This is very simple but very powerful. You can include this in your ads. You can include this in your body copy on your product page. Your product has to work, by the way. If it doesn't work, well, gonna be tough to scale a business. But if you can get like your product actually gets results, then you can promote the heck out of it, and this framework just works because it's very simple to understand, and you're solving the problem. So with that all said, hopefully you enjoyed, got some value out of that. If you did, make sure you leave a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.